This video is all about understanding how the rental system works in Germany. It will help you understand the ads you see when searching for an accommodation. More importantly, it will prevent you from misinterpreting those ads and ending up in awkward situations during applications or viewings. By the end of this video, you will know how to read German rental ads like a local, no more confusion and no more surprises. So, let's dive in. How floors are numbered in Germany? Imagine you're standing at street. That floor right on the ground is called Erdgeschoss, which means ground floor. Makes sense, right? Above it comes the first floor, then the second, and so on until you reach the very top. Apartments up there are usually a bit cheaper since the sloping roof often eats into the living space. Now, below ground, you usually find the Keller or basement. This area can serve different purposes such as laundry room, the building's heating system, but most importantly, you will find storage rooms down there. These are small rooms or spaces usually between 4 and 10 square meters, and when you rent an apartment in the building, you typically get one of these rooms assigned to you. It's your own little storage area. We recently came across this ad in a local newspaper. Can you tell which floor this apartment is located on? So, you now know where the apartment is. But how many rooms does it have? Let's start with the smallest option, one room apartment. This type of apartment has just a single main room which serves as both your bedroom and your living room. In addition, you will have a separate kitchen and a bathroom. Sometimes the kitchen is not separate but in the main room like a studio. Next, the two-room apartment. Just like before, the kitchen and bathroom are not counted. What you get are two main rooms. Typically, one is used as a bedroom and the other as a living room. So, keep in mind, a two-room apartment in Germany does not mean two bedrooms. It usually means one bedroom plus one living room. And then we have the three-room apartment. In this case, you will find two bedrooms and one living room, plus, of course, a kitchen and a bathroom. From there, the pattern continues. Now, let's say you have found a property listed for rent. It could be a private apartment where you rent the entire unit. This could be a small studio or a larger multi-bedroom apartment. You can live alone, with a partner, or with your family here. Living in a private apartment gives you more privacy and freedom about how you furnish and decorate the space. The downside? They cost more and usually mean extra paperwork. On the other hand, shared apartments called Wohngemeinschaft or WG are very common in Germany. Here, multiple people live together in the same apartment. Each resident has their own private bedroom, while the kitchen, living room, and bathroom are shared. They are cheaper, easier to find, and require less paperwork. They also provide a social environment which is great for networking and meeting people, especially if you are new in Germany. The trade-off is less privacy and less freedom. For instance, you rent this room, while the common areas like the kitchen, the bathrooms, the living room are shared by everyone. Here is an example from an ad in WG gesucht. In this case, you would rent your own private room of about 15 square meters inside a 3-room apartment. This particular listing is only for women, so 3 ladies would share the flat. Here is the same ad from the newspaper that we looked at earlier. Can you tell me how many bedrooms this apartment has? Is it a private or a shared apartment? Now comes the big one, money. Let's start with the private accommodations because it's more complex. First, there's what's called the cold rent or Kaltmiete. This is the basic rent you pay for the property itself. Second, there are additional costs known as Nebenkosten. These usually cover things like heating, water, cleaning of common areas, garbage collection. In another video in this series, we will dive deep into these additional costs because understanding them is crucial. You definitely don't want to end up paying hundreds of euros unexpectedly at the end of the year like we did. When you add the basic rent, Kaltmiete, and the estimated additional costs, Nebenkosten, together, you get the Warmmiete, means warm rent. Think of it as the total monthly cost that you have to pay to the landlord. The third cost is the deposit, 2 to 3 months of Kaltmiete. For example, if your cold rent is 400, the deposit 1200 euros. The deposit protects the landlord in case of damage, but you get it back when you move out, assumingly everything is in order. Finally, there are other costs which are separated from the rent and deposit. Your internet, electricity, and the mandatory broadcasting fee in Germany, which is around 18.50 euro per month per apartment. The first three costs are usually listed right in the apartment ad. You will see them clearly when browsing the listings. The other costs are typically not included in the ad. In most cases, these are separate contracts that you will need to set up yourself. Here is an ad from the newspaper. Can you figure out how much the Warmmiete is for this apartment? You might be wondering, okay, but how much does rent actually cost in Germany? The truth is, it really depends on the state and city. To get a sense of the numbers, you can check websites like Statista. For example, in the second quarter of 2025, the average Kaltmiete, that is the basic rent, per square meter looked like this. Munich was the most expensive, followed by Frankfurt, Berlin, Hamburg, and so on. This gives you a rough idea of what to expect. For instance, if you're looking for a 50-meter square apartment in Munich, you would be looking at roughly 1130 euro per month. But what about shared apartments? Well, for shared apartments and dorms, the rent usually includes almost everything. The basic rent, heating, utilities, electricity, and even the internet, all rolled into the advertised price. Heads up, dorms are a bit different. They usually don't include broadcasting fee in the rent. Now let's talk about furniture. And again, let's start with private apartments. The majority of them here are unfurnished. Keep in mind, some private apartments are literally empty. No kitchen, no ceiling lights, nothing. Some private apartments have a fitted kitchen, but no furniture or lights. Tip 1. Always filter for at least a fitted kitchen. This makes life much easier because if there is no kitchen, even a smaller used kitchen can cost you minimum 2000 euros including transportation and installation. Tip 2. If possible and convenient, buy the kitchen, lights or furniture from the previous tenant. It's often cheaper and saves time. Tip 3. You can ask the landlord to install a fitted kitchen, but keep in mind you might be charged 50 to 100 euros per month to use it. In shared apartments, usually only your room is empty. You might buy furniture from the previous tenant, while the kitchen, bathroom, and living room are fully furnished and shared by all tenants. Finally, dorms. Whether it's a single room or a shared room, dorms are usually fully furnished. Your room will have all the basic furniture you need. Now you have got the big picture. But rental ads are often full of abbreviations. That's why we have prepared a list in the description. The most important German rental terms with their English translations. Take a look at this example and try to decode it. Pause the video and use the reference sheet. Alright, time for the final quiz. Here is an ad from a newspaper. Take a close look and see if you can answer these questions. If you nailed that quiz, congrats! You can already read German rental ads like a pro. In the next video, we will move to the practical side. What documents you need, ready templates to use, and how to prepare your rental application so landlords take you seriously. If you found this information useful, tap that like button. It really helps us keep making contents like this. And hey, comment your questions or ideas for future videos.